This week's episode is going to be a quickie. We're going to deliver massive value, but you have homework, okay? Do not listen to this episode and then do nothing next. I want you, by the time you come back next week, to have your Instagram audited, and I want you to make sure that all 3 of the following posts are present and pinned to the top of your profile. This week, we're going to tell you how to create a landing page on your Instagram that will convert eyeballs and lurkers into new patients. Let's dive in.
I'm waiting for the intro music to stop. I love a quickie.
Yep. Okay. So
moving on.
Yeah, I think that we can get through this fairly quickly and help folks out. I think there are so many questions when it comes to not just organic content, but the profile itself. Like, it feels like this big mystery, and trying to untangle what we should have, what we shouldn't have, what's important, what's not, is like almost as complicated as what should I post this week. So I think if we can just create some like guidelines and definitions for folks so that they know that at least those first 3 posts when people come to their profile are going to be high converting, I think that would be helpful.
There's so much noise out there with hook styles and this trend, and butter yellow font is in right now, so I need to do that. And what trending audio, and just like, oh my God, let's just.
It's a lot.
Exactly. So how can we simplify? What is the ultimate goal when it comes to organic marketing? It's to build awareness, build trust, and then convert views into
paying customers.
Booked appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So when we look at it from those 3 things, it's like, okay, the trending audio, the hook styles, all of that's going to be focused on reach and building awareness. And we want people to watch, and we want the algorithm to push our content out so more eyeballs get seen, or find it, right? So that's not what we're going to be talking about today. The next step is that trust building. And that would be the next step in this process. So once they see your video, they don't know who you are, but they say, I'm going to come back and check you out and come back on your profile. Now is where we are focusing on today. And the ultimate goal is to get them to binge and start looking and watching more of your content. And I think there's a stat that I saw recently that was like, in order for some stranger to trust you over the internet, they need to consume like 2 to 7 plus hours of your content to start to identify with you, to understand your philosophy, to feel aligned with you. And this all happens on a subconscious level, right?
Totally.
So we're not even fully aware of it. But think about the people that you follow. Think about the profiles that you visited. Think about the videos that stopped your scroll and you watched. And why do we do what we do on the internet? Why do we follow who we follow? And why do we dislike some people? Oh, they're annoying. And it's like, well, why? Danielle and I talk about that all the time. She follows some people and I don't, or vice versa. And it's like, I don't know. Their message, something about them doesn't really align.
Their energy is off.
The energy doesn't really align with me, right? And so what we feel is like a really easy way to quickly help people understand, are we energetically aligned? Is this someone that I want to, right? Let's think in terms of micro steps. We're not going to go from first view to booked appointment to care plan paid in full like right away. You can't ask someone to marry you. But you can. I don't think it would work very well, right, if you just met them. So we got to take like micro steps of this new relationship and trust building journey. And the very simple way is to have 3 pinned posts that really kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, I know in past episodes we have talked about kind of the bio and what needs to be in your bio. And I think that that's important too. So go back to an old episode and listen to it. We'll try to link it in the show notes because now I don't remember which one it was. But you need to have keywords. You need to have, essentially, think about it this way. If somebody comes back to your Instagram profile, they're going to have kind of a moment in time, the same way that your hook needs to capture them in 2 to 3 seconds, your profile needs to capture them as well. So does that bio speak to me? Is it relevant to me? If so, okay, cool. I'll scroll down a little bit. And then I'm going to go to those first 3 posts, right? Because that's the top of the page. And if you don't capture my attention and make me feel like this is for me there, I'm probably not going to stick around to go and binge the rest of your content. To your point, consuming that ultimate 2 to 7 hours of content. And by the way, can you imagine how many reels you'd have to create to get to that 2 to 7 hours?
Yeah.
So long form is definitely something I think we should talk about, in the next few episodes, just so that you can kind of shorten that gap. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know, like, and trust us in a different way than people who only consume our social media, right? But that's, again, a conversation for a different episode. So in those first 3 posts, we want to accomplish 3 things. We want to make somebody feel like this is the place for them. We want to make somebody feel like we are the person for them. And we want them to then feel comfortable and know what to expect so that by the time they get to our office, they feel safe with us. They don't have any lingering questions that would stop them from coming in. And if we can accomplish those 3 things, then we've probably earned their scroll down to the rest of our content. So the first post that we're going to talk about is who we serve. And I know that depending on who you listen to, when we talk about niching down, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to niche down too far. Oh, well, if I don't niche down, then I won't, be able to get the right eyeballs. And so when we're talking about this, we're talking about, like, let's call it the 3 people that you serve the most, that you love serving, that you get amazing results for. And let's create a carousel. Let's create a reel, probably a carousel, but we want somebody to be able to look at this post, either scroll through it or watch that video and hear the words that they're saying, see images that look like them, hear stories or cases that sound like their life. And if you can accomplish that in this post, then you are golden. That person's going to be like, okay, I'm at the right spot. This place is for me, right? Whether it's their baby or it's for them, or it's the dad who is sick of having to compromise and not golf because he wants to score sub 90 and his buddies are all, hitting a 67. I don't know. Did
67.
Did I say the right numbers?
His buddies are pro.
You can tell I don't golf.
Yeah. Look, I'm just happy to break 100 and, I'm going to have a couple beers in the sun while I do it. But the big strategy here with the who we serve post is niching down, but also getting ahead of potential objections or reasons why people are not booking. So a really good example of this is, like, we are a family clinic. We market to parents of young children or babies or, what have you. And so a big misconception is, are you going to adjust my young child the way that you would an adult? And the answer is, of course, no, but they don't know that, right? So knowing that going in, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to ask Claude, what are their limiting beliefs? What are their misconceptions? What are the potential objections? I'm going to use the real estate, and this is definitely a carousel because I want more real estate to be able to kind of tell this story. But for each avatar, let's say for us, we serve kind of women and young families. So I'm going to do prenatal, pediatric, and adults, right? And then within 1 to 2 slides of each of those, I'm going to have some maybe FAQs, but just like, here's what this is all about. Here's, common question we get is this. Here's actually our response to that. I'm also going to use imagery. And this is a big thing that we're working on as we're kind of revitalizing Verve and, our organic approach is the show, not tell method. It's very common right now, especially in the world of AI, that a lot of carousels or, posts are just all text-based. And that's cool if you're a coach, you're, kind of a creator, an info product seller, whatever. But I firmly believe that if you own a clinic, we have to show people what it's like in your office to have that transparency and to ultimately build trust. So this, again, is huge for us working with young children because people don't know what it's like. And so we show them how gentle an adjustment is. And they're like, oh, that's not scary. Right. So we're able to do a couple things and then, so we're able to overcome objections, really niche down and help people see that, like, hey, we are for you. And then also show, not tell, to build that trust. The last thing too is this post provides a shareable asset. So usually health decisions are not made by one person of the family. Sometimes, depending on your, who you're working with, if you're working with adults with pain, then sure, they have the autonomy to do that. But there's likely still some kind of conversation happening at home. And that's kind of one of the Fab Five like pillars of how are we defining a good patient or our ideal patient is they either have the household support or they have the autonomy to make this decision on their own. In our world, we need that household support. So I want to give them more shareable assets that a mom who might be scrolling and on Instagram, because that's who our ads and the algorithm is finding, finds this post, and then she can easily share that with a spouse or partner that says like, hey, check this out. This is different. I'm thinking about taking little Timmy here, right? So it's not just who we serve. It's not just a list, right? But there's a strategy here with this post to be able to help. Again, the goal is now we're in the trust building phase. The goal is then to move them towards that bottom of funnel, that conversion phase.
1,000%. And you can get creative with this. I mean, I think it's not, if we're looking outside of clinic owners, I think about hair pages that I follow, right? Hairstylists near me. If I'm looking for someone, there are phases in my life where I really want to rock my curly hair. And if I'm looking
or
for
your bangs,
or my, no,
just once a month, she's like, what if I got bangs again?
Listen, I have ADHD. I'm a multi-passionate person, and that means that I get really inspired very often. Okay. By the way, speaking of which, wow, that was
Are you getting bangs?
Moment. I'm not getting bangs, but we did go ice skating yesterday with our son who were trying to get into hockey. And by the end of our skate, I had decided that I was going to play hockey, and we went and bought all the gear. So if you wanted to know.
I have some awesome pictures of her in full hockey gear. I don't know that I'm allowed to share them on the internet, but
We'll see. But yeah, if you were wondering what kind of person I am, it's not just business, it is my entire life. Okay. But going back, my hair example. So if I am wanting to wear my hair curly and I'm looking for a curly stylist, and you are a curly stylist, but I go to your Instagram and every picture I see is of a blowout, right? And women, you're going to understand. Kyle's looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
There's no blowout from having kids.
No, different kind of blowout.
That's not the I know.
Blowout is like my hair is smooth, it's blow dried and like, intentionally styled.
Yeah.
Versus if I go to an account that I think is going to specialize in curly hair and be an expert and be able to help me.
Right.
You're going to be showing me curly hairstyles. You're going to be showing me maybe you doing like a natural like scrunching instead of doing a blowout, right? So I think that to your point, it's like show not tell, but also make sure I'm seeing in what you're showing me myself expressed as the version I want to be. Right? Not like gross, curly, frizzy hair, but like nice curls that look good. Anyways, I digress. But I think that there are different ways that you can do this. Imagery is really important. Show the people that this is for them. Beautiful. Now that we have beaten that dead horse, let's move on to the next post type. And that is what to expect. And I think that there's a lot of parallels to kind of who we serve in this post because like you said before, we want to show people what our clinic or what our business feels like on the inside. We want them to walk in the moment that they come for the first time and feel like they've been there before. We don't want anything to be a surprise. You guys know that there was a version of me that couldn't even leave for a whole week without my entire clinic holding its breath. And now there's the version of me that gets to travel to another continent with my family while our team runs our playbooks and has record months. It's the same business, I just stopped being the thing that it depended on. If you're successful, but things are still secretly running completely on you, you don't need to work harder, you need to become the CEO. And that is exactly the work that we do in the CEO Transformation Intensive. This is our founding round, it's by application only. Check out the link in our show notes. You can apply there. We'll see you inside. Think about the last time you went somewhere for the first time and it was a new type of experience, a new type of business, whether it's a doctor or actually this week we went to a co-working space and we walk in and there's a front desk and there's a woman working at the front desk. And I've never been to this place before. I don't really know what to expect. I'm kind of like, I feel a little uncomfortable. I don't belong there. I see all these people who are talking to each other who are
busy. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
I walk in and I look to the front desk. She looks up at me and she looks back at her computer. And I'm like, okay. So I go up and, we'll talk about this in the next episode about how you make people feel. But the point is, I went in, I didn't know what to expect. And then I wasn't really greeted with what to expect. I had to search for answers myself, and it was very uncomfortable. And I felt kind of nervous and anxious. And we want people to never have that feeling when they come into our business. And the way that we start with that is before they walk in the door with this what to expect post. So I actually think this could be a carousel too. It could be a video carousel. It could be a reel. You could do maybe a voiceover, or you could be doing a talking head with overlay of images in your clinic. You can get creative with this. It's really not the format that matters. It's how you lay out what to expect for folks. In this post, I want you to talk about our process, right? I want you to talk about what the office feels like, what they can expect when they get there. You could even go into details like what to wear to be comfortable. And hey, when you come, you're going to find that our parking might be a little confusing, but out of the, in the back, we have 7 spots on the left of the parking lot. You're going to see our sign. Make sure you park in those spots. Like, go into detail here about the things that matter, the things that people are commonly telling you or expressing that are maybe uncomfortable or new to them, for the parent with a baby. Like, hey, the first time you ever come in, don't worry or stress about feeding your baby in the parking lot. We've got nursing cushions and couches where you can come and nurse before or after your appointment.
We do these scans, by the way.
Totally
They're
safe.
They're totally safe, right? So again, there's like your big core limiting beliefs and objections, but then there's also like surface level objections or, questions that we don't want left unanswered. Do you take insurance is the number one question every clinic owner gets, right? So we want to make sure that we answer that. We don't adjust on day one anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make sure that that is clear, but also not just, we don't take insurance, but we have to give a reason. Like, how is that in the best interest of the patient?
Totally.
Right. And, we don't adjust on day one, but here's why. And then here's our process. Here's why we're able to provide a more personalized, transformational experience is because we work, we personally create your care plan and whatever. So we have to give the because with everything. And then usually it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Right.
Yep.
And I think another thing here is like other imagery that we can use is these chalkboard testimonials that we're such a big fan of. And it's really just like the family or the patient with a $20 Amazon chalkboard with a big bold headline. And then it says, I can finally sleep through the night without pain. But then it has like maybe the FAQ or whatever the process is underneath it. So we're able to show while still educating.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, we're building trust.
And I think another point here that, you kind of touched on with that example is that we want to get people excited. We want them to feel comfortable, but we also want them to start getting stoked about the outcome, the dream outcome that they could potentially get with us. So I think using a testimonial or sharing somebody else's story can be a really powerful way to do that. Okay, before we make this episode a longie and not a quickie, let's move on to the next. The next post, the final post that we want you to pin to the top of your profile is your founder story. And this is not just, I hurt myself and then I got adjusted and then my whole life changed. And so I became a chiropractor and I'm the best one. So come and see me.
I feel like I've heard that story before.
Oh, a few times.
From our own website.
Hey, listen.
Honestly, this is all our experience as well.
Oh, 1,000%.
We are totally redoing these pin posts. If you go on Verve's right now, you will not see these pin posts.
2, I think, maybe not all 3.
Yeah, we are literally in the process of doing this ourselves.
Yep.
Is marketing a set it and forget it thing? No, nothing is in business, right? So just because you had something up at one time, maybe your process changes and then you got to, whatever, or you want to use newer, more recent case studies, or an associate is no longer at your practice and you got to redo that image because it shows her and not someone on your current team, right? So Whatever the situation is, we are in it with you. So don't think this is us saying, you got to do this and you got to do that. We literally have made a website that had Danielle's founder story and it followed that same framework. We are wiser now and have learned, so learn from us.
Yes, 1,000%. So your founder story should invite somebody to see and feel connected to you and to see why you have done what you've done in a way that impacts them. So we could go through like a 17-point framework here, but I want to keep it stupid simple and give you our example for Verve. So as you probably know by now, Verve is a family practice and it really became niched into pregnancy and infant pediatric care when we had our son Rusty. And so the way that I would share my founder story is by inviting people into this vivid story about when Rusty was a baby, I was a general chiropractor before I had him. And I saw anyone and everyone, including Kyle's dad's pickleball buddies. We were working on plantar fasciitis. It was not my most inspiring time in practice. But then I had my son, and he was born almost 4 weeks early. He had horrible oral ties. He was not able to nurse. We had to use a nipple shield. It was painful. It was stressful. It was a really hard time. He had digestive issues. He was very colicky. We really needed help and answers. And that help and those answers were all over Orange County. So here we are, newborn parents, stressed and overwhelmed, going all the way over to Newport, all the way over to Laguna Hills. All of these practitioners that we were seeking support from were like 20, 30, 40 minutes away from each other. We're not nursing well. He's not sleeping. We're not sleeping. He would scream the entire car ride. It was so overwhelming. Chiropractic was the central piece of what helped him, in addition to other therapies. And when I came back into practice 9 weeks postpartum, I knew that I did not even have a choice but to niche down and specialize in serving these families, because it was the one thing that helped us throughout it. But I also knew that just referring to other providers for the babies and the families that came to see me wasn't going to be good enough, because driving 40 minutes with a screaming baby when you're sleep deprived is miserable and overwhelming and overstimulating. And we all needed support in that season. And so what I did was I leapt into the next thing before I was ready. I had no business leasing a bigger space, but I knew that I needed to bring other providers and collaborators in with me. And so I built the Verve Collective, and we had OTs, we had lactation consultants, we had midwives. I mean, we were a team collaborative experience with chiropractic and nervous system care at the core, so that when families were going through what we went through, if you're a mom who's going through what I experienced with my baby, I've created the space for you. Please come, let us take care of you. And that's the why. That is why I do what I do. That is why I'm here supporting the families that I am. So that's my founder story for Verve, right? And I left out a million reasons why I became a chiropractor, and a million of my health challenges and the things that ultimately led me here, there, or whatever. We got to pick the details that matter, that are relevant, and that make them connect to us in a way that makes us the right choice for them.
Yeah, so she did a couple things. She mirrored her ideal target avatar's own lived experience. I talk a lot about specific real-world problems and specific beliefs and specific dream outcomes for specific people, right? So when we look at it through that lens, moms in that stage who are driving 40 minutes and they're like, oh my God, that's me. They feel seen, they feel heard, they feel called and attracted to Danielle because she's like them. And everyone likes working with or buying from or partnering with people that are similar. They have similar values. Maybe they look like that. I don't know. But there's all kind. No, I think that's finding a romantic partner. But anyways.
How many times have people asked if we're siblings?
Yeah, I know.
At least a couple.
A gross amount. Anyways, we have to think with the ideal patient in mind. And using that story really helps tie it back to why I created this place. She also used kind of the messy middle type of, here's where I was before, here's the problem that I had, here's the messy middle of me building it and taking this risk. That is a true story. We shared this in our mastermind call last week, and we've shared it publicly before, but we were making $10,000 a month.
Not even.
And then we subleased our current space that was $1,600 a month.
Yep.
It was 600 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we found this awesome space that was $6,000 a month.
I think when we found it on LoopNet,
we signed a 5-year lease for it.
Yeah,
we had no business doing that, right?
I think we were making $8,000 at the time when we first found it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So totally, we had no business getting that space. And I think, it's part of the story.
Yeah.
That when we share this, it's like I took this huge risk because I believe so passionate in helping people in this stage, people with this issue, people in my community. And people are kind of drawn to that of like, holy shit, you figured it out and it worked out. So that messy middle, don't be afraid to tell that story. And you get to choose how in depth you go. Another member in our community talked about how her husband sold plasma to make ends meet because they went out on their own and they were an associate and they were unhappy with their current situation, driving an hour each way. And it was like, you know what? We can make a few extra bucks if I do this. And so we all have these kind of stories of these leaps of faith. People are drawn to that.
Yeah.
They want to connect with you on a human level, especially in a world with AI and there's so much noise on the internet. They want to find community. Human connection is more powerful than ever right now. So the more human you could be, the face behind the brand, tell about the messy middle, tell them about the struggle, tell them about how you tried and failed and finally figured it out. We all have that story or multiple stories, but the net here is we have to tie it back and make it about them and not you. And a really good example of this is go on Instagram and look for Bolt Farm Treehouse. This business is in, I think, the mountains of Tennessee or somewhere. And it's like a luxury couples resort to get away. And they have these tree houses and these spas. And it was created by this husband and wife team. But they have a pin post that's their founder story. And it is class. It opens with imagery, show, not tell. It's couples in the bath reconnecting. That's their whole mission, right? Is to help couples reconnect and find themselves and make time for themselves as a couple. It shows them being playful in the bath, drinking champagne and overlooking this amazing view. So you start to feel like, holy shit. And actually I sent that to Danielle because I was like, we should go here. That could be us drinking champagne. And then there's a voiceover and she's talking and she's saying, we asked ourselves these questions. What if we create a space where couples reconnect? And it shows a couple doing that, right? And then it transitions to, hi, we're Kyle and Danielle. That's not their names, but we're the couple, the face behind the brand. And we've created this for our mission, right? This is their belief, what they really believe in.
They said, we did this for us because we wanted this connection. We were looking for this thing.
That's right.
Yep.
And then they showed them building the first tree house, and he's literally in the tree with like a nail gun and like, we handcrafted and we bought this plot of land and it was totally dilapidated and we built this brick by brick and whatever. And you are so emotionally drawn to this couple and this story. And then of course the imagery that they use, they should pay me because I'm doing all their selling for them. But seriously, Bolt Farm Treehouse, they have a great aesthetic and a great founder story. It's a really good example of what we are, talking about here.
1,000%. And I think at the end of the day, what I want you to use as your filter and your through line with all of this is like, think about the other chiropractors in your town. If you go to their Instagram, if you go to their website, what do you see? Pretty generic shit. Seriously. Like when you go and look, and it's not just chiropractors, right? Like I'm not just calling you guys out. I'm not just calling us out, but like any business, medical professional, service provider, salons, you're guilty of this too, right? You go and it's like, it's just vanilla and there's nothing personal. There's nothing human. There's nothing real about it. Like, give people something to sink their teeth into. Make them feel seen. Make them feel comfortable. Make them like you. Make them want to be your friend. Like, what parts of you are quirky and fun? Like, include those things. Don't feel like you have to polish this to make it perfect.
Just because you have doctor in front of your name doesn't mean you're not a human too.
People are looking for connection more than ever. With technology where it is today, people want to feel connected. They want to feel something. So go take these 3 posts, apply them, make sure that you've got them pinned to the top of your profile. If you want us to check them out, just tag us.
I'm happy to do a free audit.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give feedback. Yeah. Tag us in them, DM us.
We'll send you a voice note.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But the one thing I want you guys to do is actually take action on this. Look at your profile. Ask yourself, do people see themselves in it? Do they feel connected to you? Will they have a bunch of questions if they walk into your door for the first time, or have you answered those ahead of time? And do they feel connected to you as a human, you as the founder? And if you've answered yes to all those questions, you're doing fucking awesome. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.